We have been dreaming of a Caribbean trip for years. This is how it finally happened. Here we go. We got there in time to see this amazing sunset. Once inside, the views were also amazing. In the morning, we were really excited to get outside and see just what's out there. The heck with seeing the resort, we could see that later. Ah, that's what our resort looks like. We got to meet Gecko and his brother, but they're the only ones we saw. Didn't take more than a couple minutes, and I saw this car with its hood open. You know I just had to go take a peek. We started walking through Veradero, saw lots of cool things, like La Casa del Ron, the House of Rum, and the famous Beetle Bar. But Mrs. Parrot's first priority was to go find a geocache in Cuba. And of course get our name in the logbook. By that time, I had a blister from my new sandals, so we decided to take a horse and buggy ride. It was $10. Everything was $10. Didn't matter where you started from or where you wanted to go, as long as it was along the strip. I paid the driver, while Mrs. Parrot thanked the horse for the ride. We snooped through the market, and Mrs. Parrot picked out a cute green crab. Sadly, we found it broken in our suitcase when we arrived home. It was midday, and it was very hot out, so we decided to just sit in the shade and watch traffic go by. Interestingly, we timed it just right to see a group of horse and buggies go by. I bet that everyone that's visited Veradero has a picture of themselves at this sign. That's Mrs. Cootie Pirate checking out the pirate chip bar. I think she was actually looking for a pirate. So, while Mrs. Pirate was looking for pirates, I was drooling over the old cars. Being from Canada where it's cold and wintry right now, we're not used to the heat. So we jumped into a cocoa taxi, thinking that if we went back to the resort, we could cool off in the ocean. Look what was parked out in front of our resort. Our taxi driver said, come back, sit here. And then he took our picture. That was awesome. Back in our air-conditioned room, Mrs. Park quickly opened the balcony door to check out the view. And just look at that view. We could hardly wait to get down to the famous white sand beach of Veradero. It was even nicer than we imagined. This is our view from the balcony after the sun went down. Next morning, we took the hop-on hop-off bus and saw old cars everywhere, but we were looking for a cactus with a geocache. There it is! Wow, we're caching in Cuba! Next, we were off to find an earth cache in what I called the Bat Cave. Wow, it was definitely worth the $5 to see. We found out later they'd forgotten to give us flashlights, but we used our phones to explore. You know, there were so many bats, they caused a breeze as they flew by. Too bad our pictures didn't turn out. Another very interesting thing inside the cave was all the pictographs. I can't tell you how many because that's part of the earth cache. It was interesting to see the Memories Resort because a couple of our friends had stayed there previously. And the Resonance Musique Resort, where our daughter stayed just a couple weeks before we arrived in Cuba. But what was really interesting was finding another geocache in Cuba. Everywhere you looked, there was another beautiful old car. Here's another one. Looks like it's about to be run over by the hop-on hop-off bus. Wow, some of these cars are awesome, and this was no exception. It's absolutely beautiful. We went on a Jeep Safari excursion and got to drive a very well-worn Suzuki. That was a lot of fun. And here we are touring through the backcountry of Cuba. One of our stops was at a natural cave, and it came complete with an excellent earth cache. And not only that, but we could swim in the cave. Apparently it's way too cold for the locals to swim in. Mrs. Cootie Pirate, enough swimming. It's time to go get that earth cache. 4 of us shared the so-called Jeep. The girls weren't much interested in taking a turn driving. Myself, I found it quite interesting. And this is us driving through the Cuban city of Matanzas, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong. It sounds much better when the Cubans say it. Another fun stop was at a local farm that had fresh fruit and vegetables for sale. They even had free samples if you're brave enough to try some. This is a sugarcane juicer. It would squeeze all the juice from the sugar canes. I was very happy to find some tiny bananas that were super yummy. Mrs. Kootenay Pirate just had to jump on a horse and take it for a ride around the farmyard. It was a short ride, but it made her smile. After another ride in our Jeep, we got to take a Cuban speedboat for a cruise. And as you can see, Mrs. Pirate was having a good time, but she even had more fun after we docked the boat. Mrs. Pirate loves to watch the shows, and as a finale to the safari excursion, the locals put on a great show that made Mrs. Pirate hoot and holler. And then she had to get in on the act. Back in our room, we found the maid had made us a cool little boat floating on the waves. She even added a Canadian flag. The next day, we started off by taking this beautifully restored 55 Chevy taxi to go find a geocache. The Cubans are extremely proud of their cars, and they could talk all day about them. I loved it. Just look at how clean the interior is. Well, there goes our Toyota diesel-powered taxi. That was really interesting for me. Not so much for Mrs. Pirate. And here's the geocache we came for. While out finding another geocache, Mrs. Pirate took this gorgeous shot. And there she is, my beautiful wife, Mrs. Kootenay Pirate, soaking up the warm Cuban sun. Oops, talking about soaking, I guess I should have taken the money out of my pocket before this happened. While finding another geocache, we met Rosalia, a local cacher. We also found that not all the cars are in great condition. Another excursion we took part in was the catamaran trip to Cayo Blanco. There's a catamaran we're going to take. Mrs. Pirate getting ready to be blown away, literally, by this exceptional cruise. Here we go! It was pretty rough and windy, as you can tell by this guy trying to sell us lobster dinners. That's where you want to go. It's got several geocaches. Funny thing is, the boat cruised right past, and Mrs. Pirate was seriously talking about jumping ship. She was so disappointed. But what happened was the boat went to another island to drop off the people waiting to swim with the dolphins, and then returned to the island with the geocaches. That's Mrs. Pirate doing the happy dance. Once on the island, everyone else went searching for rum punch or mojitos. Not Mrs. Pirate. All she wanted was the geocaches. Luckily, we didn't have to worry about muggles. Everyone else was at the bar or at the beach. After we'd found all the nearby geocaches, we had to head back. The boat ride back was a little more lively after all the rum punch and mojitos. There we are, the Kootenay Pirates in Cuba. Our last Cuba sunset, taken from our balcony. We didn't have to catch our plane until after lunch, and we'd saved one last geocache along our beach. We even found some interestingly different footprints. A bird, a human, and whatever the third one is. Our last Cuban geocache was an experiment with the sand, and we really enjoyed doing that one. We brought a few little things from home that we heard were almost impossible for the Cubans to get, and we left them in the room for the maid. All too soon, we had to leave these very, very friendly people, but we got to keep all the fond memories they'd given us. Cuba, just like its people, friendly, beautiful, and warm. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Pirate did find another pirate.